Welcome to the B-List.
Welcome to the B-List, you guys. Welcome back.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Happy V-Day. If you're celebrating, if you're not, then maybe you should watch this crappy piece of shit, and then you'll feel as bad as we do right now.
Oh my goodness. This one was a stinker this time. I wasn't expecting much from the reviews that I read, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad.
I mean, I know anytime we go to Tubi, it's going to be not great. But I feel like this one, like, no one that I've spoken to has heard of this one. So
No, they didn't. And it was the reviews that kind of sold me on it. I'll read some of these reviews at the end after we tell you all about this movie. But the name of this movie is, Tara?
Cupid, from the year 2020. So
2020. So this is like a newer one.
It is a newer one, and it's from the pandemic, and I don't know if that has something to do with how terrible it is, but
I don't know, but this one
it felt like sitting through a pandemic. So
yeah, that's a good way to
not
describe
great.
It. Yeah, it was directed by I got two names for this. On IMDb it says Scott Chambers, but in other movies that he's directed, his name is Scott Jeffrey. So
maybe his name is Scott Jeffrey Chambers.
I guess, but why not just go by that instead of having two different names? I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure he
Hollywood,
has his
am I right?
He's also known for I'll also mention too that he wrote this movie. So he's it's a good passion project whenever they write and direct it.
Yeah.
He's also known for great movies such as Bats, Cannibal Troll, The Curse of Humpty Dumpty.
Well, I know what we're doing for Easter.
And Fire NATO.
Fire NATO? Like Fire NATO or like like a tornado?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but it's on my list now.
Okay.
This was distributed by Uncorked Entertainment, which is the same distribution company that did Minutes to Midnight.
Minutes to Midnight.
That we did a few episodes ago.
Yeah, and click back a few episodes where it was the Billy Baldwin, Richard Grieco film that we covered.
Low budget. As a matter of fact, I could find no budget info for this. I'm assuming they spent maybe $10 or $12 on it. It's available on Tubi. So
it's available on Tubi.
I suggest you go watch it. But we'll tell you about it first, and you can make the decision for yourself whether this is one of the worst Valentine's movies you've ever seen.
Because I feel like covering other ones would have been too easy,
Yeah.
I did mention on the last episode I wanted to do something that no one has ever seen, and I think
we found it.
We found
it. So, the movie opens up with a little, cartoon book that tells you the story of Cupid. And I don't know how accurate it actually is, because I don't recall Cupid being as evil.
I think this is like a twist on what if he were evil?
What if he, yeah.
Because I don't think this is accurate at all.
Reimagining of Cupid.
He's the son of Venus, the goddess of love, and Mars, the goddess of war, and they gave birth to him, and...
Which I looked that up, and that's true.
That's accurate.
That's accurate, but then the rest of the story I'm not so sure about. It might be, loosely based on a true story. I don't know. But he was supposed to protect love.
Yes.
And he fell in love with Psyche, which made his mother jealous over her beauty and forbid Cupid to see her.
Can't see her.
And so Psyche begged to be with Cupid, and Venus said, okay, but you have to complete 3 impossible tasks.
3 tasks. And she did it.
But what were the tasks?
Didn't say
what the tasks were.
Would you like to know what they were? Me too.
Me too. But apparently she completes these 3 tasks and returns, but collapses.
She's too weak to make it in.
She's too weak to make it into the castle or whatever. And so Cupid rushes to her side to save her, to prick her with his arrow.
Yes, which should give her power.
And eternal life. But Venus had tampered with the arrow.
And poisoned it.
And it kills Psyche.
What I'm reading is that Cupid's mom needs therapy.
Right.
She's a real...
Too controlling.
Yeah. One of those mother-in-laws, you know?
Yeah, mother-in-law from hell. But yeah, then this makes Cupid angry and evil, and he begins attacking the town.
Goes on a rampage.
Vows to never allow love again, since he could not experience it himself.
Yes.
And then he goes to the underworld to ask Death to help him get revenge.
And Death, like, warps his mind and gives him anger.
Gives him a demonic spirit.
Yes. And so he's going to hate people in love.
Yeah, and so now he can be summoned.
And bring fury to those who abuse love.
Fury to those who abuse love. Okay. So now, we've got the backstory. This is what happened to Cupid.
This is literally the first couple minutes.
Yeah, little animation, whatever.
So it's opening on Valentine's Day. Modern day, at a table. And there's a date going on. And this jerk is going on and on about how, bragging about himself.
He's one of those narcissistic rich dude.
Just keeps talking about himself on the
first
date.
I'm so successful and so rich.
And the girl says, you're totally successful. And she says, hold that thought. Because she's got to go to the bathroom.
She's got to go to the bathroom. So she goes.
She goes to the bathroom. And this guy, like, checks his phone. He has 12 missed calls. And then there's
Sandy.
Yes. And there's a blonde girl at the door, window, whatever, banging on
the door.
And meanwhile, in the bathroom, this girl's on the phone with her friend. And is like, this guy ain't it. Like, he's a total jerk. Can't imagine. She does say she can't imagine herself being face deep in his crotch all night.
Yeah, right. She's not stooping this low. And then the voice on the other end says, well, why would you go out with somebody from a sugar daddy website? So she asked for this. All the sugar daddies are like this. So
and she decides she's going to crawl out the window, the bathroom window.
Yeah, so she decides she's going to...
Meanwhile, the girl banging on the window is crying and saying, So apparently she is
I guess she's his daughter.
She's his daughter.
She's distraught. She comes in and she's mad because he's on a date and he's divorcing her mom.
And she's very upset, like not just regular upset, because something has done something horrible to her mom.
Yeah, something has happened to her mom, and she tells him that she really screwed up and they're all dead and he killed them all.
Yes.
And he's like, why? And
like, I was angry at you for what you did, so I summoned him.
Yeah. And so we don't know who him is at this point. And so...
And the dad has a really weird accent. There's so many accents.
There's so many accents.
Varied accents. I don't know. Did you see where the movie was where it was filmed? Because
I had seen something. I don't know if it was something I heard or something that I read, but it was filmed in the UK or supposed to take place in the UK. But
because there's some other language, I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, everybody has an American accent. Canadian
accent. Some of them sound British. Some of them sound
so
Australian.
I'm not sure where this takes place. But anyway, so Dad takes daughter outside and he throws her on the ground.
He's very brutal with her. He just throws her down.
Like, I don't know what you've taken, but I'm done with you and I'm done with your mom.
Yeah.
And this guy needs to go. And then he runs into his lady friend who, escaped out the window.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I just came out to get fresh air. And he's about to introduce her to his daughter on the ground.
Yeah.
And suddenly, lady girl,
she gets shot in
the
arrow to the eye.
An arrow to the eye.
Like just straight, like, damn.
And then, yeah, home dude screams. And they see Cupid hovering above them on his little wings and
his face.
He looks like he was an art project by a 5-year-old Leatherface.
It looks like paper mache and like a pig face type thing. And can we talk about the fact that he's rocking the little man bun ponytail? Whereas they shaved all on the sides and just that little bitty badoink hanging off the top of his head.
I don't know if they were trying to make him look like a Greek or Roman statue that had come to life. I don't know what the design was for Cupid, but
he looks like a 15-year-old kid. He's very scrawny.
Yeah.
He's very
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
so
know
anyway, they're like, we gotta go. So she grabs her dad and they run and cut to them running in this field, and it looks like bad CGI.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what was wrong with their running, but
something's weird about it.
Something's off.
And then that's when we get the shot of Cupid in his weird little pig face, and
then
she said she summoned him after what he did to her mom.
Yeah. And
he's like, where's your mother? And she says,
she's like, she's dead.
She's gone.
She's gone.
And then Cupid lands with some very stylish gladiator lace-up sandals.
Oh, yeah.
He's rocking the Roman
those
look.
never go out of style.
Never.
And he ends up shooting Dad in the leg.
Shooting him right in the leg. And he doesn't even try to move away. He's just laying there. And Cupid grabs the girl's back of her head and like impales her onto the arrow, all while the dad is just like laying there crying. And now he's like not only shot in the leg, now he's got like a dead kid impaled on his leg, so he can't get away.
And then Cupid takes his hand and rips out.
Very Indiana Jones. Grabs the heart, rips it out of the chest.
And there we go. That's a cut on dad and daughter that we
never see again.
Never mentioned again.
Nope, don't ask.
Doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie.
I'm assuming maybe it was the year before, because like now we're going back to 2 days before Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so like another Valentine's Day.
Different Valentine's Day.
Sometime in the future.
Cut to a girl. We learn her name is Faye. She's reading this like Cupid book, this leather-bound book, and lighting sage with candles. And
it's got all these spells in it for love.
She pokes her finger so it bleeds, and she drops her blood on this picture of a man who will learn
who obviously looks older than
he's
her.
An adult.
But she's dripping her blood. Excuse me.
We'll learn it's her teacher named Mr. Jones.
It's her teacher, Mr. Jones.
And it's a love spell. And then she, like, burns the picture because she's trying to, like, you know.
She's trying to get her
the craft, trying to get something.
Trying to get her teacher's attention. So we cut to Mr. Jones, her teacher.
Yes. Lower third says 2 days till Valentine's Day. Yeah.
So we cut to him at school asking out another teacher, Miss Drake.
Who also has a weird accent.
Which also, they all have a weird accent. He asks her, she's got to chaperone the Valentine's Day dance.
You know who she kind of looked like to me? Like a Wish brand, like, Daryl Hannah.
A little bit,
Didn't she kind of? With, like, the wavy blonde hair, and, like, she's pretty, I don't know.
Yeah. So she's chaperoning this dance, and he asks her if he could be her date, and they can get drunk at the dance. Like, you're the teachers chaperoning.
This is why the students have crushes on him. Because he's like, let's go get
cool teacher.
I'm not a regular teacher. I'm a cool teacher.
I'm a cool teacher.
Yeah.
And so
she's like, I have to supervise.
Yeah, I have to
at this ball for children.
And but they make plans to like hang out later, and they go in for a kiss, but are interrupted by another teacher, I guess.
I said old teacher lady. I don't know what her name is.
Yeah,
it said her name later on, but I don't remember.
I didn't catch it. But
she says one of your students has gum in her hair, and I'm like,
why would you?
Does he teach at an elementary school?
Right. Why would you go get the male teacher to go get gum out of a student's hair anyway?
In the bathroom.
But anyway,
and she's a teenager. Get the gum out of your hair yourself.
Yeah.
Go to the nurse or whatever.
Go to the nurse. Just wait till you get home.
So cut to the bathroom, and it's the cute goth girl named Faye, and she has gum in her hair, and
she's there with her friend Matt,
who I thought was her best gay. Like the whole.
That's what I thought too.
The whole movie, I was like, this is her best gay. He's a boy in the girls' bathroom. Like he's
they've been friends since elementary school.
He's a little, little sassy.
Yeah.
And the mean kids have spit gum in her hair. And Mr. Jones comes in to the girls' bathroom and tells them they better not be smoking because that's bad for you. And it doesn't make your voice deeper. And Matt says, really? That's the only reason I did it. Okay.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on to mean girl Elise.
Yeah.
She's like listening in the bathroom.
She's spying on Mr. Jones talking to her. And he catches her out in the hall. And he tells her to leave Faye alone. Or she can't. He's going to cancel like the Valentine's Day dance. Because I guess she's in charge of.
But then she threatens him and is like, I'm going to tell people that you were touching us in the girls' bathroom.
You came into the girls' bathroom and was peeping my bod. So he's like, okay, and then he backs off of it.
This girl has problems with authority. This girl
needs,
she ain't scared of shit.
Right. Well, and then she was like...
But to be fair, there was a grown man in the bathroom.
That's true, but it's none of her business, really.
I mean,
unless she saw something inappropriate that needed to be reported, which it wasn't.
She just didn't want to be in trouble, so she's like doubling down.
She's making up shit about him.
Yes, for sure.
So anyway, later in class, Mr. Jones he's teaching, he's an English teacher.
He's talking about Shakespeare.
Talking about Romeo and Juliet. Oh, they're always talking about Romeo and Juliet. And then Faye tells her
he kind of like smiles at her.
Yeah,
because he's a nice man.
He's a cool teacher.
And Faye's like, she tells Matt, I think my love spell might be working.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. But Elise, the mean girl, gets in trouble for talking in class, and everybody laughs at her. So she steals...
She sees his cell phone sitting on the desk.
She sees his cell phone, so she steals the teacher's phone, Mr. Jones' phone.
Someone get a handle on Elise. She's not okay.
Yeah. And, yeah.
She shows it to her friends, and they plan on tricking
They want to trick
Faye.
Faye.
Because everyone knows Faye has a crush on the teacher.
And so Faye keeps telling her friend Matt that that the spell is working, and Matt is even like, dude, he's a teacher. He's way older. Why don't you look for somebody your own age?
And I didn't think anything of that at the time. And he's like, everyone has a thing for Mr. Jones. He said he'd even turn me gay. And I was like, that's not how gay works.
That's not how gay works.
You should know that as the best gay. But then we find out he's not gay.
He's not the best gay.
He's not the best gay.
He's crushing on Faye.
He's crushing on her.
He's crushing on her. And then she tells him, there's nobody I like my own age. And you can tell that he's like, super disappointed. So that's when we find out.
That's when we find out, yeah.
He's
but I didn't even catch that when I watched that movie.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah. So Faye gets home from school that day.
and what's her mom doing, Courtney?
Her mom is stumping a guy.
Riding the hobby horse on the couch.
On the couch, right? And so Faye rolls her eyes and locks herself into her room.
Why would you be having sex on the couch when you know your kid's on their way home
Well,
from school?
and then the mom's like, "Oh, you're home early." It's like, how early?
How early, though?
Like, that, you're cutting it real close. It's
Like, you don't have a bedroom you could do that in? Or
okay, well, you're a
like
whore
hotel?
mom, so whatever.
Mom's kind of a hoe.
So anyway, mom goes up to apologize to Faye in her room. And Faye, this is where you find out. Faye tells her, this is the first Valentine's Day since Dad died. And here you are hooking up with Elise's dad.
It's Elise's dad.
Elise,
that will come back
mean,
in.
yeah.
The mean girl's dad.
Mean girl's dad. And she put gum in my hair today because of it.
And her mom's like, well, people move on.
And yeah, mom's like, I'm moving on and you should too.
You should too. Move on past your dad dying.
He hasn't even been gone a year. And not that I have any problem with her moving on or anything
Move
like
on
that.
as you intend to. Just
Grief
maybe don't do it on
different forms, but don't let your daughter.
Don't do it on the
catch you
couch when
having-
your daughter's on her way home from school.
Especially don't let her catch you having sex with her enemy's dad.
Yeah, with her bully's dad.
So anyway,
so Faye's phone goes off and it says, "Hey, I got your number. I know it's not professional, but I felt a connection." It's Mr. Jones, by the way.
it's Mr. Jones. It's his phone.
It's his phone.
So yeah, but and Faye doesn't know that.
She's super excited and she's like, "Hey, I felt it too."
Yeah, she texts back, says she felt it too. And then she gets a text back saying that he's staying late tomorrow and she should make a move. And to stop calling him Mr. Jones, call him Duncan.
Duncan Jones.
Duncan Jones. And she's like, okay. And then he asks for a picture. And she sends a selfie, but they want a risque selfie.
Yeah, he's like, maybe something a little more. So she takes off her shirt and sends him a bra selfie, which I'm saying right now, if you are underage and sending those kind of pictures, that is considered child sex abuse material, and you shouldn't be doing that. So,
But she's in love, and she's
in
making
love.
a mistake.
So cut to the mean girls looking at this pic, and the
And
guy's
they're
like,
laughing.
yeah,
And the guy's name is Daryl?
I think so.
Something like that.
I always say it's like the mean best gay.
Yeah, the mean best guy.
The mean best gay is like, why are you guys so mean to her? And she says it's because her and her mom have it coming. How does she have it coming? Because her mom's a hooer.
I don't know.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
But it's kids always misconstrue things like this. So I can let this
Teenage girls will hold a grudge over literally anything.
Yeah, I'll let this be a plot point. So
whatever. Okay.
Okay. But then we but you know that Elise is planning something very evil with all of this. And so we cut back to school, I guess the next day, and Miss Drake gets a rose from Mr. Jones. And then she's like, you didn't get in touch with me last night.
Yeah, how come you didn't answer my text or whatever last night?
And he's like, I lost my phone, but I did email you. Take the rose. And so Principal comes in.
I call him Principal Muscles.
Principal Muscles comes in. And
Because he's got this light tight shirt on and his muscles are like, ba-dang! Like,
ding.
Yes.
Anyway. And he's like, I know what you guys are up to. Hands off at school and don't bring it into work whenever it goes south. Like,
because he knows.
Because he knows.
Like, you don't.
Yeah.
Don't shit where you eat. Like, you know, like you're going to break up probably.
Not a great idea, but...
It's not a great date. Don't date someone from work.
But, and then meanwhile, while this is going on, Faye gets a note in her locker. Mm-hmm. And
It's like, see you this evening in my office.
Yeah, see, I can't wait to see you or something like that. And so she thinks it's Mr. Jones.
Also,
Like,
why
Mr.
are they
Jones-
calling it why aren't they calling it the classroom? They're calling it his office. That's when I was
Yeah.
like, this movie wasn't filmed here.
Yeah, this movie this wasn't written by an American, I don't think. But Matt shows up at that point after she gets the note, and he asks her to the Valentine's Day dance.
Yeah, go with me like we did when we didn't have anybody else.
And she says, no, she's probably not even going to go. And Elise and her friends are already posting the stuff, and Elise doesn't care.
I just think it's funny that he's like, let's go to the dance with me like we did when we didn't have anybody else. You guys don't have anybody else now.
You still are a couple
You
of
still
outcasts.
don't have anybody else. You're not selling this very well, Matt.
Yeah, right. So Elise is posting all of this risque stuff.
And this is in my notes where I say, is best gay not gay?
Yeah, he's not.
He's not. Okay.
He's all about Faye. So Miss Drake interrupts and tells them to stop bullying Faye.
Yes.
And Elise is just being a smart mouth bitch. And Miss Drake says...
She's like, why don't you get yourself out of other people's business?
Yeah. That's a teacher you're talking to.
That's a teacher. You can't talk that way.
You can't talk that way. But whatever. She's Elise. And
it's her job to be in your business if you're bullying another student.
you're
That's
bullying-
literally her
yeah,
business.
yeah.
Her business is to be in your business.
Yeah. And Miss Drake even says that she'll cancel the whole dance if they don't stop.
Which I feel is a bit much. Like, you're
It's
going to
a
punish the entire school because this
this girl,
little bitch can't
Yeah.
mind her business.
And so even her friends are having reservations about posting all of this stuff, but the ball is already rolling.
Yeah, they're like,
and-
let's just leave her alone.
And Faye is already on her way to see Mr. Jones.
Elise says, when they're like, let's just leave her alone, Elise says, are you guys really pussing out on me right now? Like, I don't like that.
Don't say that.
Don't say that.
Yeah. But
Yeah, it's too late. So.
it's too late. So the friends go to the room to see Faye making an ass out of herself.
Yep.
And they get there to see Faye coming on to Mr. Jones. And Mr. Jones is like,
Like,
you
yep,
know,
you should go.
you
And
should
she's
go.
stammering about how glad she is she's here. And
and
then
they start to film it.
She kisses him.
She kisses the teacher.
And he's like, nope,
He's shocked.
nope.
And he's like, nope. And she's embarrassed.
She's
and
like,
she
I
runs
thought
away.
you liked me. And she runs away.
And then she runs away, yeah. And, of course, the mean friend group
Yep,
have
at
already
Mean Girl
filmed-
headquarters,
they
they're
filmed all of
like,
this.
yep. And they're already, like, making this video so they could, like, show it at
Uh-huh.
school.
They're making their plans to embarrass her. Mr. Jones tells Miss Drake about what happened. And Miss Drake is like, you need to tell Principal Harper so you don't lose your job. Like, you need to nip this in the bud.
Right,
Tell him
right.
what happened. And Mr. Jones is like, well, I don't want to embarrass Faye any more than she's already embarrassed.
No, for sure
like,
tell somebody
no.
because that's the right thing to do.
You need to cover your bases. This is like
You
a
gonna get
big
fired.
issue.
Yes.
And then Miss Drake lays on some heavy flirting with,
Like,
I know somebody else who likes you, blah, blah, blah. And so Faye goes back home.
And where they're having this discussion is really weird. Like, did you notice, like, where Mr. Jones and Miss Drake were like, I'm like, why is this so sparse? Is it a coffee shop? Is it a restaurant? There's one random guy at a table. There's no nut. Like, it was just like, it looked like an empty dance studio. It didn't look like.
I think that they tried to make a little space look like a cafe or something.
Well, it
like
didn't,
that.
so-
But it didn't. Like I said, this,
And then they were drinking beer. So I'm like, is it a bar?
So it is a bar. It's a well lit bar.
It's a well-lit bar, dance studio, coffee shop.
It's a small town.
Because in Canada, they have everything there.
Assuming this is a Canada.
Maybe it's Canada.
It could be France for all I know.
Who knows?
So Faye goes back home and she goes to look through her book of spells.
And it says black magic.
Yeah. Black magic.
That's how you know you're in the right section.
Yeah. And that's when she finds out that she can summon ye old Cupid.
Yep. The love destroyer.
The love destroyer. So.
That's what they call him. That's what my ex-husband's call me. Zing!
But
So back in class, students pass out Valentine's Day cards, and then Faye gets one, and it's giving like very like Mean Girls when Damien was like, and none for Gretchen Wieners, like it's like someone like passing out these Valentine's cards, and she gets one,
oh, look who got one.
and she opens it up, and it says something about the ball, and
yeah, I'd like to take you to the ball or something. And I guess she
And
thinks
this-
it's from Teach,
maybe, or maybe she
she-
thinks it's a joke. I don't know,
but,
but
she tears it up.
while that's happening, like it's like a sleight of hand thing. 'Cause while that's happening, the kid who was bringing in the notes, she connects like her phone or whatever to the computer.
Yeah, connects Mr. Jones's phone to
Yes.
the computer,
And everyone sees them kissing on
everybody sees the awkward exchange.
Big screen. Yeah.
And so Mr. Jones, unplugs the video really quick, and Faye runs out into the hall.
And what's out in the hall?
It's all of her risque little bra pictures.
Her bra pics are printed out everywhere.
And stuck to the walls everywhere. And so that causes a fight between Elise and Faye.
Yeah, because Elise comes out and she's being totally mean about it. She's like, I am cringing for you. This is your fault.
You did this. And so there's a little fist fight. And
Miss Drake and Mr. Jones, they come out and they gotta separate it.
And then they cancel the V-Day dance.
V-Day dance is canceled and you guys are gonna clean everything up.
And you're gonna clean everything up. And Elisa threatens to sue because her dad's a lawyer. So Faye takes off and does her little spell.
She does the spell and
the candles around her flicker, and then suddenly Death shows up.
With the longest fingers I've ever seen. Very Nosferatu, long fingers.
Which, I mean, is it's creepy. I'll give it that. I
hate
seeing the long fingers.
He's like, you summoned me.
You summoned
And at first I was like, this ain't Cupid. Cupid's got a little ponytail.
Yeah,
at first I didn't know who it was, but it's Death.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out, and she says, I want to end love at my school and grant no more love to those within the school. And Death asks, do you understand the price? And she's like, yeah.
She's a dumb teenager, and she's like, yep,
no love for anybody.
No love, sign me up.
So Death says, okay, I'll go get Cupid. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't Cupid.
Oh, that's like his handler.
Yeah, that's his assistant.
Death is his handler, his manager, his business manager.
I'll go text Cupid and see what he's up to.
Let me go see what he's up to.
And then he'll spend 24 hours of Valentine's Day
just wreaking havoc.
Ending love
everywhere.
At the school.
Yes.
And she's like, okay. And then he's gone. So Matt shows up and says that Principal is looking for her.
Yes.
So she goes, and Principal is there already yelling at Elise.
Yes, Principal Muscles is yelling at Elise and saying and she's like, how do you even know it's me? And he's mad. He knows. Yes. He says she has to take down all the decorations and refund the tickets.
Yep. No dance. Nothing. You did this.
I don't know how they're going to refund. I mean, are these the only kids in the school? Because, that's a lot of tickets to refund in one day.
Right.
All these damn kids are going to be showing up for the dance. And it's just going to be
it's that
carnage.
Night, but...
Yes.
So...
And how are they not done decorating before now? Because, they were decorating before... y'all should have already been done with this.
Yeah, this should have already been set up. But Faye,
this girl's not... She's unfazed. She doesn't care.
Yeah, she doesn't care. And she's like, whatever. And so Faye shows up just as her and her friends are being taken to the gym to take down the decorations. And Lena is one of the friends in the group.
Yes.
She goes off to go to the bathroom.
And the lights are like a damn nightclub. It's green and pink and blue and she's in the stall and she hears someone come in and it's like noises. a weird noise.
Scratching on the other side of the stall.
So she gets down on the floor and she looks under the stall without pulling her underwear up.
No, she just gets off the toilet and crouches on a bathroom floor.
There's either drippies or something's happening. Ick. Yeah. And there's a long pause of nothing.
Yeah.
And then he pulls back his arrow and shoots her through the stall into her ear.
She's listening at the door.
Bad news if you're in a horror movie and you're up against a wall, because it's probably gonna...
Right, that's a bad place to be. And he shoots her with the arrow through the wall, and it doesn't kill her.
No, she runs away and falls down, and he steps on her back, takes off her shirt.
He rips the back of her shirt open, and then takes a cookie cutter.
A la
Black Christmas.
Yeah. And cookie cuts
some hearts
her back.
Out of her back. And I'm assuming that's just a wrap.
That's the end on Lena.
And so we cut back to Faye in the principal's office. He's yelling at her for fighting. Yeah. Even though her poor pictures were posted everywhere. There is no empathy from Principal Muscles here.
Principal Muscles has no brains. That's why he's not Principal Brains.
Yeah, he's just muscle. And so, even though she was humiliated, and he gives her the same... Now you're going to have to go to the gym with the
Hang out with your bullies.
Hang out with your bullies and take down
who are all mad at you and help them.
And with the decorations.
Yes. And Mr. Jones apologizes for the prank, and
he sends her on her way. And Matt, her bestie, goes along to help. He didn't get in trouble, but he's supporting her.
He's supporting her because he's a crush on her.
Yeah.
He's a simp.
He goes to help. And the teacher lovebirds are like, whew, that was close. And
And he says he has to grade papers and then summer can officially start. It's February.
It's February.
Summer's not.
starting.
And then they're like, because spring break is after this. That's also not summer.
That's also not summer. It's spring coming up. And spring isn't for another month even then. So
Yeah.
he doesn't know what time of year this is.
This is why he teaches English and not calendars.
Calendars was an elective in college that he didn't have to take.
Even though he was apparently going to doctor school.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that later. We will get to that later.
Sorry, don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil anything. So the teachers hang out, or they make plans to hang out again.
Yes.
And so anyway.
Meanwhile, the Mean Girl crew, they're like eating cookies that they find.
Yeah.
And they say it tastes like chicken.
They taste like chicken.
And someone says chicken cookies.
Chicken cookies?
Yeah.
And so Miss Drake comes in and she's like, you didn't come here to eat or party or whatever. And so give me your phones. And Elise answers her phone.
And she starts to storm off and she's like, hey, you get back here. And Elise says, make me, biatch.
Uh-huh. Like,
someone get Elise's dad out from under that mother, because he needs to come to the school.
I know, right?
Like now.
Like, she needs some discipline.
Yes, he needs to be disciplining his daughter and not humping
Right.
that mother.
Yeah.
Is what he needs to be doing.
Yeah. And Elise just jets after that, after
Yeah.
she mouths off. And then she says something about, I know about you and Mr. Jones. And
So fast forward, we see Elise get in the car of a legitimate adult man smoking, who is her boyfriend.
who is her boyfriend? I don't know.
And he somehow can't figure out how to start his car.
His car won't start.
He's like, this has never
And
happened
by
to me
then,
before.
Yeah, Principal is chasing after her because she's being so...
Yeah, he's like, get out of the car.
Yeah.
And in the clouds, we see Cupid.
Yeah. Here
He's
goes
flying.
Cupid. Using the best effects I've ever seen.
And he straight up shoots Principal Muscles in the eye. He's a good shot.
He's Cupid. Duh.
He's been doing this for a minute.
He's a Roman god.
He's been shooting people in the eyeball for a while.
Yeah, that's his favorite place to hit. But he hits Principal square in the eye, dead, blood splatter everywhere. Miss Drake sees this and screams.
Yep, and then boyfriend and Elise get out of the car and run, but Cupid shoots boyfriend in the leg.
Yeah.
And then shoots him again in the back.
Shoots him again in the back. They drag him back into the school.
This is when, if I were Elise, I'd be like, this isn't working out for me. I gotta go, bye.
Yeah, right. Right. And then Miss Drake tells them to take
Take him to the medical center?
take him to the medical center. And
We call that the nurse's office.
We called it the nurse's office because we didn't have a doctor on board. We were lucky if there was a nurse there.
There's a nurse, and she's for sure just reading Cosmo. She's not she's not nursing.
And so Miss Drake goes to get Mr. Jones, and when she finds him, she's like, "I need to use your phone." But but his phone isn't working.
Phones aren't working because if
None
there's
of the
one thing
phones.
Cupid hates more than anything, it's good cell phone service.
Right. Right.
Not on my time.
Nope. And so at the nurse's office,
Also known as the medical center.
no one's phone is working.
Nope. And the boyfriend has like black blood coming out of his
He's got that like
wounds.
black veiny thing
Where it's like infection.
spreading through his body, and so
Elise is freaking out. She's like, there was wings and he was really short and he flew.
she can't get it out. She can't. She's just
And that's when
hysterical.
Faye starts putting two and two together, and she's like, oh no.
And nobody is like really picking up on what Elise is putting down. They're like, what are you talking about?
So Faye runs off, and Matt goes after her, and he's like,
Yeah.
you know something, tell me. This
Yeah.
is the part of the movie where it's annoying, where
Yeah.
Matt just keeps saying that over and over again.
Yeah.
Mr. Jones and Miss Drake look at the boyfriend, and
they're seeing
They're like,
that
it's-
he's kind of getting all marred up.
and they
from
roll
that.
him over, which I feel is a bad idea if you've been shot in the back with an arrow.
Right.
But they just roll him over onto his back, and his
Right.
chest is all infected, and there's veins, and
It's getting closer
black
to his
blood.
heart.
Black blood's coming out of his mouth.
Yeah. And so Mr. Jones shoos away the
Says,
other
"Get
kids.
the kids out of here."
And then they run off, and Matt is still trying to get it out of Faye. Like, what did you do?
What'd you do? I know you know something.
You know something. And so the teachers are trying to stop whatever's happening to Homeboy.
And Mr. Jones is like, this guy's been poisoned and it's going to his heart. And I'm like, how can he know that? He's an English teacher. And that's when he tells us that he was going to doctor school.
Before he dropped out. Again, another guy doctoring. after dropping out of medical school, just like what was the last movie we watched?
Frankenhooker.
Frankenhooker. Yeah, he dropped out of medical
He's not
school.
a real doctor. He's also not a real calendarist.
Yeah, exactly.
Just Shakespeare. That's all he knows.
So the kids all run back to the gym, and when they get to the gym, there's like a heart on the projector.
And it's like pumping.
And it's pump, 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 pump.
And then suddenly
they hear,
Cupid's there.
They hear the creepy noises, and they're face to face with Cupid, and they all scatter.
And he takes his sweet time to do those arrows.
Yeah.
It's a long time. He's just like...
picking out a target, which one?
But everyone starts running into the blue hallway, and now...
and then homeboy, boyfriend in the nurse's office, or I'm sorry, medical center, he dies.
Yeah, it's a wrap on...
Yeah, and then the teachers that are in there with them, they hear the kids screaming, and they're running down the hall toward them with Cupid hot on their tail.
And he starts shooting them, and he shoots best gay Matt, who's not gay.
Yeah, best
and he
not
shoots
gay.
old teacher who interrupted Kiss earlier, and they leave teacher behind. Like, sorry, girl.
Sorry, girl, you're on your own. Matt gets shot in the arm. Faye
Like,
grabs
straight through
the arm. Faye grabs Matt. They run off with everybody else. And then Cupid, who hadn't finished off Teach yet, goes up and stabs her. And
Rips the arrow out of her and stabs her again.
Rips the arrow out, stabs her again, finishes her off.
So in the lab, Elise finds the spell book.
Yeah, Elise finds it. And
so she realizes what has happened.
She realizes that Faye did something. And Faye and Matt run into the bathroom to tend to his arrow.
And she tells him he's going to be okay. And I'm like, I don't know, girl. He's shot in the arm pretty bad.
He's not looking too great. And they see "Love Kills" written in blood.
On the mirror.
Okay.
Okay.
So...
Blonde friend.
Her name is Britt.
Okay, Britt.
I've heard her name one time in this movie, and I just jotted it down really quick.
I missed it. Okay, so she's running alone, trying to find a way out of the school, but Cupid is right up behind her.
They're in the locker room. He chokes her.
I was like, stabs her with flowers.
Like
a bouquet of roses. Until it goes down her throat and out her throat somehow.
So that's a wrap on Britt.
Those are some strong stems.
Yeah, I know, right? Those thorns. Ugh.
They're probably the cheap, like the fake ones that you find at like Michael's
or
Dollar Tree or something. It's got a wire. Those are for sure not real.
That's why they look so fresh.
Cheapskate. Okay.
And so, yeah, and that's a wrap on Britt, which I didn't even know she was a character until she died.
Nope.
I don't even remember seeing her from before, but she was there.
And now she's dead.
So Faye tells Matt that now you're infected.
You have to go to the medical center.
And he says, if I'm dying, I want you to know I sent that Valentine and I'm into you. And she's like, what? I had no idea.
And he tells her, when I spooned you at those sleepovers, that was no accident. I spooned you because I wanted to.
And I also thought it was funny. He was like, I didn't think that you were my mom like I told you. Like, you spoon your mom.
And she says he's kind of like a little brother. I'm like, ouch, she can't even fake it because he's dying? Like, fake it, girl.
And you could be like,
She's
love
like,
you too.
Yeah, no, thanks.
And so, so they hear a noise and they explore. And they open a stall and find Lena's body from
Which
earlier.
I completely forgot about her, with like the holes in her back, with the heart-shaped holes, because they were eating the human flesh.
And they see the hearts.
And they're like, ah!
And they're like, oh no, those were flesh cookies. Ew. And then there's another noise. So they investigate again. But it's Miss Drake and Mr. Jones.
Yes. And they take them all to the science lab.
And they're like, we gotta get to the science lab. So they find Elise and Daryl, the mean gay. And they're alive, and they've got the spell book.
And she accuses Faye of doing all of this, and that's why she looks so guilty, and Faye admits it and apologizes, but Elise is being pretty mean to her, in all fairness.
So that's what I wrote down, too. She's pissed because her friends are dead, her boyfriend's dead.
Like, I don't want to validate an asshole, but this is the one point when it's like, yeah, I mean,
this was like a big overreaction to send a demon after us.
Overreaction. Now all of the friends are dead, and her boyfriend is dead.
And then Elise jets again.
She starts like naming off all of her friends, and then she's like, "And boyfriend, my boyfriend is dead." And I'm like, "Oh, she can't even remember his name."
We still don't have a character name for boyfriend.
I think at one point she said it, but I honestly don't remember.
I didn't grab it. So anyway, she jets again, and Mr. Jones is so disappointed in Faye. And so Elise and Daryl, mean friend, are locked in the school. They can't find a way out.
Yes.
So they go and try to find Lena and Britt.
Yes.
Who we know are dead. And Matt is in the science lab just screaming in agony. And Mr. Jones decides to amputate.
Yeah, since he dropped out of medical school, he decided he's the best guy for this job. So and put his arm in a vice.
Yeah, put his arm in a vice and shove it off.
Where did he get that goddamn saw?
And you know what?
In the science lab?
They had a bone saw in the science lab? No, it's not a bone saw. It's like one of those bow-shaped saws from, like, woodworking class.
Yeah, maybe that's where they are. I don't know. They said science lab,
They said science lab, and there's sciencey things around them, but again, I don't know. So,
and then Faye tries to make him feel better, and she's like, well, when we get out of here, I'll take you on a date.
Yeah, if you survive, we'll
a pity
go out.
date, Faye? Really?
This is the time. This is the time to give him his pity date.
That's Mr. Jones explains. I studied to be a doctor. Trust me. I'm just going to chop your arm off a little bit.
He didn't even really say he studied to be a doctor. Well, he says it. We got to take your arm off. Don't worry. Before I was an English teacher, I studied to be a doctor before I dropped out. It's like that is a lot of confidence. I am glad you're with us, Mr. Jones. So
it's
a good one.
Is the nurse here?
Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to save your life.
Yes.
So in the gym. Cupid is... This was my favorite
This scene. Is the best scene. If you only watch this scene of the movie, watch the scene.
Watch this scene. So Elise and Daryl
yes.
are running away in the gym again, and Cupid is behind them, and Daryl gets hit in the back.
It took me a minute to figure out what was happening.
It took me a minute to figure in the back. I was like, oh,
because Cupid's just like... I'm like, is it like, throwing stars?
Phew. No, it is not.
What is it, Courtney?
Star. It's Valentine's Day cards.
These are not... the 2 for $1 from Dollar Tree. These are quality. Mm-hmm. These are Hallmark cards.
These are Hallmark cards. That
thick card stock.
Mm-hmm. Fancy, fancy, fancy. And he is pelting him with them and just
stabbing the shit out of him
like a demonic game of froth.
Like what's his name? Gambit from from Marvel.
And so anyway, knocks him down. He's writhing in pain. Elise
he grabs him by the head and
Elise
bowls. She's like, bye.
He grabs Daryl by the head and takes one of the cards, and then paper cuts him.
Basically decapitates him.
Just these cards
with a card.
Girls, don't take your pepper spray out anymore. Take out one of these Cupid Valentine's cards.
Just go to any Hallmark store.
Yeah, Hallmark. Hallmark sells. Is it
Hallmark? What is it to sell the very best? Hallmark cares to sell the very best. I don't know what their theme song was, but whatever.
But anyway, yeah. So he paper cuts him to death.
Paper cuts him to death.
That's how Daryl dies. Paper cuts.
It's a wrap on Daryl.
Wrap on Daryl.
So in the lab, Faye kisses Matt to distract him, which I feel is really confusing this poor kid because, like, you're like my little brother. I'm not into you. I'll take you on a pity date. Let me suck your face a little bit while you're getting your arm chopped off. So Mr. Jones cuts his arm off. There is blood everywhere. And he is hacking away at this thing like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Did they even put a tourniquet on him?
Nope, they did not.
He's just bleeding out everywhere.
And then the ham flops to the ground.
Yeah, flops over. And so Faye finally admits at that point, like with her words, that she performed a spell.
Yes, she did this.
And it's about the same time that Elise finds Britt's body.
Yes, the girl who died via roses.
Via roses. And so they're like, how do we stop this? And she's like, we just got to wait for V-Day to be over. And Matty Boy, he's passed out. He's not doing good. Yeah. And Teach is all like, okay, we just gotta wait this out while he's bleeding out over here.
Yeah, she's like, Mr. Jones says he'll be fine, but I don't know. He's pretty quiet over there.
He's not responsive.
And Miss Drake, horny bitch that she is, starts kissing Mr. Jones and promising to buy him a drink after all this is over.
Yeah.
And then they look at Faye, and she's like, it's fine, I'm so over this. Which just proves what an overreaction this is, because she's completely over all this.
She's alright. She's alright with the Teaches being together.
It hasn't even been a full day yet. And she's like, I was overreacting. Yeah. It's fine.
So after Mr. and Miss kiss, they're like, we need to go get some towels. So Faye and Mr. Jones goes off to get towels. and Miss Drake stays behind with Matt. Elise is still running for her life, but Cupid is following right behind her.
He's coming up right behind her.
She runs into Mr. Jones and Faye, and they are all off running together.
And she says, "Are you happy? You got what you wanted. All my friends are dead."
Yeah.
And she's naming off that's when she names off every single one of her dead friends. And then she says, "And my boyfriend."
And my boyfriend. And then, wait a second, Cupid is suddenly after that, he suddenly pops in with Matt and Miss Drake.
But she also tells Faye that if your mother would have kept her legs closed and didn't sleep with my dad, I never would have hated you to begin with. Again, it's not her fault.
That's still not her fault. Leave the parents out of this.
Yeah.
So they run back to Miss Drake. They hear Miss Drake scream.
Yes.
And they run back and find Cupid with an arrow, trained on her.
All of a sudden, now he's got some self-control and he's just holding her hostage.
And he's just holding her hostage.
Yeah.
And she's like, help me. Help me. And so Mr. Jones is like, hey, just stay calm.
Mr. Jones, this is not helpful.
So Faye starts reading from her spell book again to bring back death.
Yes.
And, oh, by the way, don't look death in the eyes or your soul will be taken.
Which would have been good information, I guess, at the beginning of the movie to know that.
Yeah, this is suddenly a new rule that we didn't know.
And Death tells her there has to be a new sacrifice. There has to be a sacrifice.
What is all this happening, though? Whatever.
Has there not been enough sacrifice with the cards and the flowers?
And he's like, you either have to wait the 24 hours.
And Cupid's just standing there, all bored, waiting for something to happen. And
yeah. Or you have to make the sacrifice. And Elise, I guess, is going to try to make herself the sacrifice. But then there's Mr. Jones is like, wait, but we've only got 2 more minutes.
Right. Why don't we just keep talking,
Why don't
maybe?
we just keep talking for a minute? But she's like, no, we have to do this or we could all die.
And then he looks at Elise and she looks at Death. And Cupid just stabs her right in the head.
Just stabs her in the back of the head with an arrow. And then it's 2 minutes later. It's midnight.
And then it's midnight, and Matt comes in and turns on the lights, and suddenly it's all over.
Yeah.
And what the fuck is even happening now?
Cupid and Death disappear.
But wait.
And when Matt comes stumbling in with no arm, and Miss Drake is like, I need that drink now.
And then Elise stands up, and then Faye hits her and knocks her over and says, now it's all over.
Yeah.
Elise probably could have been saved. Yeah. But you just knocked that bitch down again.
It was, why of all people, like, she wasn't the bad guy anyway. She just popped up and she just
smacked her.
And then I guess that was the final.
Yeah, because the arrow went right through her again.
Right through her again.
And then Miss Drake gets in the car with Matt to take her to the hospital, and Faye apologizes to Mr. Jones again. And then...
Yeah. And, well, first, she's with Mr. Jones, and Faye's like, you guys go to the hospital. We'll be right behind you. And we're going to talk to the police. It's like, you're not going to be right behind them. The police are going to want to know every single thing that happens. You're going to be there a while, but that's okay.
The police will be there for a while.
Yeah. Why don't you, call an ambulance for anything at this point?
Right.
Why are you taking him to the hospital? Call the ambulance. The ambulance can
The ambulance is probably coming with the police.
Yeah. So then, anyway, so Mr. Jones and Faye are there by themselves waiting, and Mr. Jones, what happens then, Tara?
Mr. Jones kisses her on the mouth.
On the mouth. Teenage Faye.
He kisses
her on the mouth.
This man has, just by the skin of his teeth, not committed a crime this whole movie.
Yes.
And then he kisses the underage student.
Yeah, and then says, uh-oh, your spell worked.
You better have a way out of this.
You better have a spell to sort this out.
The end.
The end. Gross. No. Don't like it. This was awful. So there you have it.
And there's that movie.
And there's Cupid from 2020.
And I hate it here.
And I will never watch this one again.
I don't know how it should have ended, but none of this should have happened.
None of that should have happened.
Nope.
So I looked everywhere to find some trivia or something about it, some little fun fact. I didn't find much because it's, like I said, it's a direct-to-video release. But I did find some pretty funny reviews, which is why I picked this movie.
Hit me, Courtney.
One reviewer said, this should be called Stupid, not Cupid. All I can say.
Agreed.
Another reviewer said, our 12-year-old neighbor kid could make a better one. Another one said, I wanted to put an arrow through both my eyes after watching this horrible movie. And then, this is one of my favorite ones. Save yourself the time and misery. Just rub dirt directly in your eyes. It'll be far less painful. Then go outside, get some sun, and try to be a better person.
I mean, all sound advice.
Right, and this was my absolute favorite review, though. It's a little lengthy, but it's funny. Cupid is no ordinary movie, but like a modern-day Citizen Kane, seemingly reinvented the medium of long-form video storytelling. After release, it was said that if a man stood in New York, he would always be within 5 meters of a critic sobbing, for there were no more movies to review. Cupid had released, and the cinema was finally finished. When I saw Cupid, I was unprepared. My young nubile mind was about to be remolded into that of a Greek scholar, as new avenues of philosophical and metaphysical study suddenly became obvious. Cupid didn't change my life. It began my life. I also like the bit with the big spooky angel dude.
And there you go.
And there you go. Yes. So, what holiday is coming up next? Do we have St. Patty's Day?
We could do a leprechaun.
Ooh, should we do a leprechaun? We may have to do a leprechaun. What about the one who goes to space? Oh my goodness. We'll think on this. But
For sure.
For sure. We definitely will not be covering another Valentine's movie like this one, though. Well,
absolutely not.
We will. We'll find another one equally.
So if I didn't hate Valentine's Day enough, here we are.
Here we go. So everybody, have a happy Valentine's Day.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
And we love you.
Bye.